Hello, Mr. Bruns here. Today we're going to talk about interval notation, and we're going to be adding to that sheet that we used on the last lesson. So if you don't have that in front of you right now, pause the video, go back and grab that sheet and have your pencils. And I don't know, maybe the colored pencils would be nice. Okay, but all we're going to do is pretty much be writing and adding to the sheet. Okay, so today we're going to talk about interval notation. All right, interval notation. All right, and make sure you copy these down. You can add this right onto your sheet where I'm writing it. Okay, and interval notation is just another way of describing like the interval that we're talking about. Down here, we use inequalities, right? See, we're using less than to describe the values where x is between -6 and -5. X is greater than -6, but it's less than -5. Okay, with interval notation, we're going to say the same thing, but using different symbols. Okay, it's a little quicker, a little more compact. Okay, so if I want to say that something's between A and B, first of all, I can use what we call like the square brackets. Okay, and when I use the square brackets A and B, I'm saying between A and B, but include A and B. Okay, it's all the values between A and B, but including A and B. It's kind of like saying we've got A less than or equal to B. X is greater than or equal to A, but less than or equal to B. It could be A, it could be B, but it's somewhere in the middle. All right, the other symbol we use is like a regular parentheses. All right, if we use the parentheses, that means we don't include, does not include A or B. Okay, so this is like when we want to say X is greater than A, but less than B. Okay, it's in between A and B, but it doesn't include either of them. And the thing with interval notation is you can mix and match too. Okay, if you write something like this, the square bracket A and regular parentheses with B, you can do that. And what that means is everything in between A and B, you're going to include A, but it does not include B. Okay, so it's like saying you've got A, X is greater than that. It could be equal to A, but it's less than B. It's in between A and B. And this one, it includes A, but it doesn't include B. Okay, pretty simple, right? All right, so let's try it on some of these intervals down below. All right, so for the first one, the first increasing interval is between -6 and -5. All right, so since we're using less than and not equal to, we're going to use, which one do you think we're going to use? Yeah, the round one. Okay, so we're going to say the lower boundary is -6, the upper boundary is -5. And since we're not including either of those, we'll just use the round parentheses. Okay. Next one is this one here, right? So that's between 2 and 5. Okay, oops. So we'll just say the lower boundary is 2, between 2, and the upper boundary is 5. Boom, between 2 and 5, not including either 2 or 5. All right, next one. Okay, now we're talking about decreasing. Okay, first one is between -1 and 2. All right. So round parentheses, because we don't include -1, and the upper boundary is 2. Another really important thing I may have forgot to mention is that you always do the smaller number on the left and the upper number on the right. Okay, it's like a number line. Okay, next one. Ooh, greater than 5. Okay, yeah, so that's this one. So again, with the arrow, that means it kind of keeps on going. And then everything else is going to kind of continue that same trajectory down here. Okay, so we're going to assume that that's going to keep decreasing. And when we do that, there really is no upper boundary. So we're just going to use infinity. Okay, so it doesn't include 5, the lower boundary. So we use the round parentheses, 5. And then the upper boundary is, we'll just say that it's infinity. It goes all the way up to infinity. Whenever we use infinity, we also use the round boundary, okay? Or the round parentheses, because infinity isn't really a number, right? We're not going to use the number infinity. Infinity is more of a concept. It's telling somebody that it doesn't end, all right? So last one here, okay. Between -5 and -1, it remains constant. Okay, no problem. Same thing, doesn't include -5. Doesn't include -1. Okay. All right, one of the tools that we use to practice this is to use number lines. Okay, so right now, go ahead and get your math notebook out. If you don't have your math notebook, pause the video. Okay, so in your math notebook, we will have a number, we'll have a number line like this. Okay, and let's say we want to express all the values between -5 and 3. Okay, so we'll make a little tick mark, -5 and 3. And then we're going to highlight everything in between. Okay, cool. Everything in between. And 0 is somewhere in here. Okay, so we know that 0 is in there, 1, 2, -4, -3, all those are included in this interval. All right, but the question is, what about -5 itself? Is -5 in this interval? Is 3 in this interval? Okay, so in order to show that, we're going to use a series, either a hollow dot like that or a solid dot. Okay, do you remember this? Have you seen this before? Okay, so a hollow dot means that number is not included. Okay, the solid dot means that that value is included. Okay, so for this interval between -5 and 3, if we want to include -5, we'll use a hollow dot there. Okay, and then if we don't want to include 3, we'll use a hollow dot. All right, so to use inequalities, we would express this interval. We would say, well, let's see, x is greater than or equal to -5, but it's less than 3. Okay, now to express this interval in interval notation, what are we going to use? Okay, while you're learning, feel free to go ahead and refer to the legend up there. But you want to commit these to memory. Okay, if we're not, or if we are going to include -5, we'll use the square bracket, okay, between -5 and 3. And since we're not including 3 in this, we'll use the parentheses. All right. Now, very important, you always want to use, just a reminder, you always want to put the lower bound on the left and the upper bound on the right. Okay, just like a number line, you kind of start lowers on the left, uppers on the right. Okay, that's it. Have a good one.